start us from the cover page. Welcome to my short course on teaching with Zoom. So you are pretty much on your page where your students are, and you want to take your lesson to a share screen. But before you get there, there are some things that should have been done. One, the article that you want to share must already be open. It's also advised that you have your Microsoft Word open even if you're not using Microsoft. It's also advised that you have your Excel open even if you're not using Excel. It's also advised that you have your Google or whatever search engine that you use browser open, so that should you need any of these in the lesson, you can access them with little hassle. Now that all those have been opened and you're in your Zoom browser, now you can start sharing screen. Now if you look to the bottom of your screen, there is a green button marked share screen. Color might differ. You might want the students to participate by sharing their screen as well. You can choose as the host to either share the screen with your students, or you can restrict it to a single person share, which would have been you. So we're going to be sharing the screen as is, because we're using Zoom now as a Blackboard as it would have been at school. So we're going to be opening Zoom, and you're seeing a number screen on my desktop. We could choose to use a blank screen like a whiteboard, and we could write on the screen. So let me use a blank screen, because most person would have had a clean chalkboard. There we have a whiteboard. Now if you're pretty good, you could just probably navigate with this pencil. And if you're as rusty as I am, probably you wouldn't. You would probably take this, a text box, you draw a text box, and you would probably write, "How are you?" Now while you work in this space, your students can see, right? Now here we have a menu bar, and we are able to use all these functions to aid with whatever we're doing. We could erase what was written. Here we go, the eraser. We could erase what was written. Now we need to get rid of the eraser to do whatever we're going to do. Alright, so it might mean that you want to select something, or you probably want to deselect. You want to write, you want to draw, whichever one you choose, that will come up, and you can use these pretty much as features to enhance your lesson. When you're finished with whatever you're doing on your board, you could save by using this icon. Alright, so we're good. That's for the whiteboard. Alright, so this is a clean board as it would have been in your classroom. But we really don't want to use a whiteboard as if we were in the classroom. We want to use a prepared lesson. So here's a lesson, a PowerPoint lesson. It's always nice to have your lesson prepared in PowerPoint. And we could use this as our presentation, and this screen would pretty much act as if you were using an overhead projector. We could do that. Alright, so there we have it. It's like an overhead projector, and the students would have been able to see and participate. And you could go through the lesson. Through the lesson the students are seeing, and you could look at specific things in the lesson that probably you want to point out. You could go back by using the up and down arrow key. Now here you observe that the menu that we had when the whiteboard was on screen, the menu is not there. To turn that menu on, you just go to annotate, click on annotate, and then you'll have it. So now I want to circle microscope, because that is pretty much what I want to talk about now. And the kids would see that this is the area that you should pay some keen attention. Alright, and then I probably want to remove that. I would click on my eraser, click, and it's all gone. Alright, or probably I wanted to add another equipment from the lab, I could just use my text box function here and do that, type it in, right? Then once you have done that, then you want to go back to your pointer because you want to ensure that you can navigate through the lesson well. So you can move up, you can move down, you can decide which way you want to go, be it up or down. Alright, so it's a very easy thing to do. You get this platform, you put whatever you want to put on it, and your student can also participate in sharing on the screen. You could go to this button that says more, and you could disable participant annotation, show name of a person who is annotating. So you could ask a student from wherever they are, Jane, Tom, Ari, whatever, I want you to write on the screen what you have learned. I want you to list something. So then you would have pretty much everybody writing on the board, because you could use it as a token response. So nobody would be gazing, everybody would be a part of the class because they know that they'll be writing on the board pretty soon. Alright, so that's that for that. I am going to up on out of this screen. I'm going to go to another screen. I'm just doing it the easiest way for you. So I go here, and I probably want to go to Excel, or I want to go to Word. Or tell you something, I was teaching something pretty abstract and the students really didn't understand anything. So I could just go to my YouTube page and I could probably find something. Alright, so I probably want to find the views of persons on the road. This is one of our programs, so we are just going to click on that one. I think I have the answer, and we're going to look out, should student wear uniform to school? Now the students in your class would have had their views, but what's that mean on the road? So you could get that bit on the internet, and that could help with the discussion in class, right? So you realize that using the Zoom as a meeting place, as a classroom, it can work pretty well. Alright, so you can get your music, you can get your video, you can get just about whatever you would need for the class. Now there's another thing. There are times when you want to share your screen as I'm sharing now. I don't know if you were hearing the music. I guess you were. You could turn that feature off, right? So you could actually play the music and no one is hearing. Alright, you could decide not to share that. Alright, so we just look at these, look at the menu here, toy around. Like I like to say, it won't damage the computer. It doesn't work for you, just move on to something else. It's also advised that you make sure that your Zoom meeting is set up before the class time. Make sure you're able to navigate, find your way around the meeting space, so that when the students are in class, you won't take that time to learn about the technology. Good. We're just going to recap a number of things that we have done in lessons before. We want to look at chat. I want to take you back to chat. When you get to chat and whatever the students are saying, the responses, it will definitely come here, right? And just about here, you'll have the persons who are all signed in. There are times when persons are chatting away and they just can't hear that the mic needs to be muted. You have the option of getting right here, looking for the mic that is open, and you're going to mute that mic. Now the responses from the student will be streaming somewhere along here. And if you want to save that or have the student save, you could just click on this little button here, right, and it will assist you. So there you have some other menus, some other things you can use here. You need to check them out and see how best they help with what you're doing. Now it's very important to note that the lesson that you're teaching can be saved. So you could save this lesson and send a copy of the lesson to all your students so that they would have it for notes. So you could just click this button here, or you could enable it that they could save the lesson on their computer, or you save it and you can manage what was saved and send to them. There's another feature in screen sharing that I like to show to you. So I'm going to be opening up again, and I am going back to my PowerPoint presentation. So I'm in my PowerPoint presentation. I really didn't want to send this PowerPoint to the kids for a number of reasons. Probably I don't have the resource to send it, and I have to get it now. Now, in order to get this note to your kids, you could have them print screen. So you're going to hold on your control button and you're going to hold the print screen button, that is the PTR SC button. For some keyboard it's beside the shift key, for some keyboard it's above the backspace key. So now that we have pressed print screen, we could, I like to go the easy way and go back in. Just for beginners, I want to teach you that way until you are a little more mature in this thing. And then we're going to be opening Microsoft Word, because we are collecting our notes that as soon as there's no class we can still navigate. So we are going to paste it. I like to use a very easy way to paste. So I'm going to hold on my control key and press V, and you would see the article that I copied should be pasted anytime now. Alright, so print screen, we did our print screen. Open there. That, give me a second there, and then we are going to select Microsoft Word and print screen. For the greater part it will work, it works for everyone. I'm not too sure if my system is a little slow. I have a whole lot of graphic on the system, that might be. But print screen is an option that you can use. I actually taught some kids today and they were able to use it. So look at that as a viable option to get the notes to your kids. So we are pretty much at the end of this lesson. We wanted just to show you what happens in the share screen and how you could use it as a classroom board. We wanted to show you how to record the lesson and also to save the chat and monitor those persons who are being very disruptive in the class. We wanted to do that. There's something else that we would love to do, but we won't be able to do that today because there's no one on. We'd like to show you how to change your username. Now if there was a picture on the screen, you would see 3 little dots at the top called, they are pretty much ellipses. You would click on them and you would see rename. It is as easy as that. You could change the name. You could advise the students to change their names. It's a little more appropriate and easier to manage if you know the persons who are in your chat are in the classroom, so you can effectively manage the persons who are there. Now if the room becomes a little noisy, you will observe that wherever the noise is coming from, there's a lit box around that person. Now you have an option. You have an option to either mute their mic or to remove them from the room. So you could just right click, remove them from the room, or you could go over to the left here, this white area here, and you could mute the mic. Now that is my 101 for teaching with Zoom. I do hope that you learned a thing or two. Please leave a comment just below so that we can continue to make great videos and improve on our quality. Thanks much for watching.